the direction of the astrological field. And they help bring in the astrological renaissance. So the avant garde astrologer is someone who can forge ahead and explore new territories, conduct experiments, research, and bring innovation into the field. Whether that's introducing new perspectives to astrology's applications, innovating on the methods that we use to analyze charts, or whether that's applying astrology in very creative and potentially radical ways. All of these explorations can result in the development of the astrology field, growing new branches on the astrological tree, and overall expanding the field in both depth and breadth. So if you aren't already familiar with the term avant-garde is a term that describes a person, work, or idea that is experimental, radical, unorthodox, or controversial in the context of art, science, culture, and society. Historically, the avant-garde was commonly associated with artists and scientists. And so these groups of people sparked radical change, revitalized and stimulated the stagnancy that was happening in their respective fields. So the primary goal, as we think about avant-garde in relation to the astrologer, is again to bring advancement into the astrological field. And so in order to do that, we need to break people out of the box that they're in, helping people see astrology in a different way, in a new light, helping people see astrology's value and being able to communicate astrology's value as it relates to different people, places, and things in our human experience. So the avant-garde astrologer is one who'd ask questions about how can they apply astrology to people, places, and things. How can they show and reveal astrology's value in a different subject that might be contradictory to astrology or complementary to astrology? They ask questions about dissolving boundaries between disciplines, dissolving imaginary boundaries, mental boundaries that keep us bound into maybe a traditional way of thinking about astrology. And they ask questions about what have we yet to explore through the astrological lens. So in my own experience, I've come across a couple astrologers who I deem as avant-garde for the time that, they were in the profession. And coming across their work definitely allowed me personally to break out of some of the mental barriers that I had when it came to thinking about astrology and how I can use astrology as a tool, and opened my eyes to the endless possibilities that astrology can provide us. It's just that we need to discover it. It's already there. We just need to discover it and connect the dots. So these avant-garde astrologers that I am personally referring to is the late Payne Tobey and the late Nikola Stojanovic. So Payne Tobey is actually one of my favorite astrologers, and he was a leading pioneer and thought leader in astrology. And he taught astrology from the perspective of astrology being an abstract science and a branch of mathematics. So even simply, well, I won't say simply because it's not simple, but even just thinking of astrology from a mathematical perspective definitely opened my eyes to seeing more of the system in astrology and helping me bridge the gaps between ideas and concepts and principles related to astrology that I was struggling with in my own study. I've even adopted some of Payne Tobey's principles and use them in my practice today. And one of those principles being Pluto serving as the ruler of Aries. And so this really helped deepen my chart analysis and helped me better understand Aries. And as I bring up Aries, Aries is the perfect zodiac sign that ties into the avant-garde. If you think of Aries characteristics, Aries is a leader, an innovator, someone who's bold, courageous, radical, an individual, and someone who's genuine and sticks to their own mindset, their own ideology. That is the avant-garde. As for Nikola Stojanovic, he's also another astrologer who I consider a part of the avant-garde. And he revealed the degree theory within the zodiac. And despite my own criticisms about this theory, it gained a lot of traction in the astrological field and helped give a framework for a more refined and exact analysis of a chart. Now, if you're interested in some of my criticisms, I did make a video about the degree theory, and I propose a few tweaks that would make this degree theory, from my perspective, even more accurate. And interestingly enough, my tweaks were inspired by some of the principles and teachings that Payne Tobey introduced. And so if you're interested, definitely check out that video. And lastly, I consider myself an avant-garde astrologer. So I'm an artist at heart and more so care about the creation of new ideas and concepts. I love seeing new things, new ideas, new words. I love playing around and mixing things up and interjecting them into our life experience. And especially things that go against the norm, things that go against the grain or are unconventional and unexpected. Seeing those things or coming across those things in our life experience is always a opportunity. It provides an opportunity for us to break out of the limitations that we have and constantly face with all of the repetition that we can get bogged down by on a daily basis. And so this applies to astrology for me as well. So I see astrology as a tool, and I also see it as an art. So I've been pioneering and developing astrology's use and application toward YouTube channels. So yes, YouTube channels have horoscopes too. and we can use their horoscopes to uncover the channel's divine blueprint. And this in turn helps to foster creator and channel alignment, but also helps all of the YouTube channel creators navigate the challenges that they've been having with their channel, but also giving them insight and understanding about their channel's development over time. A channel has an energy of its own, just like a person, right? So I consider our YouTube channel as an entity. And so that channel was incepted at a specific date, time, and under a specific celestial alignment. And so we can take the concepts that we use, the methods that we use, the techniques that we use when we're applying astrology to humans through natal astrology. We can apply that or transfer those techniques, methods, and ideas to understand YouTube channels better. And so, that being said, I'd love to hear about any astrologers or any astrological concepts and ideas that you've come across in your day-to-day life experience. I'd love to hear if you've found any avant-garde approaches, avant-garde methods, avant-garde uses of astrology. If so, leave a comment so we can all go check them out. Until next time.